Been 3 years, Yasemin, because the last time you and I spoke, it was just 3 days after the flight had been shot down by the Iranian regime. At that time, you were counseling dozens of family members of those who had been killed. And at that time, it was complete shock and disbelief. And I wonder 3 years on what you're hearing from those same families.
You know, Natasha, words cannot really describe the pain, the intensity of pain, and how prolonged and intensified it's been for the right reasons. You know, the pain, the trauma, this wound is getting deeper and deeper as time goes by, especially over the past few months with all the atrocities at the hands of the Islamic Republic. It's been brutally painful for the families and for Iranians across the globe, for sure.
Why do you say it's getting deeper? And rather than healing or surviving in some way?
You know, yes, there is some healing involved just because of what is happening right now by Iranians, both inside Iran and in the diaspora. We are trying to advocate for ourselves to stand against these crimes against humanity. You know, in that sense is somehow healing, but the healing is coming through a lens of trauma and traumatic events, one after another. You know, people being detained, nobody knows where they are, where their whereabouts are completely unknown, lots of unannounced executions happening. You know, every morning you might wake up, you just look at the news, you don't know what to expect. So the extent of trauma is just, it's hard to describe how traumatic it's been, and it is for all of us. So, you know, and it's both for people inside Iran and outside, you know, so this is just a shared pain for all of us around the globe. But, you know, there's also a level of discrimination with all of that, unfortunately, both, again, inside Iran, of course, but outside Iran, because we don't feel that we are getting the recognition that we need to see. You know, we had the Ukrainian war, we had the Black movement, Black Lives Matter, we've had Me Too movement, and you know, everybody stands in solidarity when there is a human rights crisis for the right reasons, and we somehow expect the same, but unfortunately we don't see that. So feeling discriminated is also a part of the traumatic experience. So all in all, it's been very hard for us to cope with, but we have hope, and we are, you know, as you see, we are raising our voices, we are spreading the word, and we are trying to do everything we can to, you know, make this movement, this revolution happen.
Yes, I mean, that to me is so profound that you feel all these other human rights movements get so much attention, but you feel like your movement, your community's movement has been neglected. What's your best assessment? Why is it being neglected?
I think, you know, the Middle East is like this faraway land, you know, Muslim countries, you know, people barely know what's going on. It's quite unfamiliar to people in the West, especially. I think the unfamiliarity brings some sort of foreignness, otherness. You know, this is this part of the world and they are the other part of the world. But this otherness is painful. I think we all need to unite. And this is crimes against humanity. You know, we have 8 million Iranians in the diaspora only. This can just make a country by itself. So, you know, I think it's a faraway land that people are not so familiar with, or people, you know, and I think over the past few months, people have just started recognizing that Iranian people are different from their government. And this is quite recent, I think, that's happening.
Okay. Yes, I mean, before I let you go, two-part question. One, to people you're counseling who are of Iranian background and are feeling all of that pain, no resolution in 3 years, no justice in 3 years, and this sense of otherness and feeling left out, how are you advising them to cope? And for those of us who are not members of the Persian or Iranian community, but see our friends and loved ones and colleagues hurting and completely overwhelmed by this story of what's happening in Iran, how can we offer support?
Two very important questions. Thanks for asking. The first one, I try to help people channelize their anger, resentment, trauma, their wound into strategies for change. what I've been doing myself. I do therapy and I do advocacy. I've been finding myself on the two fronts, and I've been trying to help people who are connected to me, my clients especially, to channelize their anger towards that direction. And that gives them a sense of purpose and meaning. So that's what I try to do with my clients, and especially people who are affected by this crisis that we're going through. And also for non-Iranians, we would truly, sincerely appreciate you raising awareness. You see protests in Toronto. We have so many protests going on. You would barely see non-Iranians. But, it's not the only way to help, by simply sharing, posting, social media. This is the platform that can change and save lives. We have executions unannounced in Iran, and posting, sharing, just hashtags, these simple strategies that everybody can do from the comfort of their homes can truly save lives. So we would appreciate that kind of advocacy from people.
Yasameen Karimi, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.